Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today I'm gonna show you how to turn a head like this into a head like this in just under 35 minutes. So let's begin. So let's start fixing the overall proportions of the head. I'm gonna use this like my old model of a head here, right here, that I got right here, and of course I have a ton of reference, so I know how the head is gonna look, but I'm gonna tell you guys about the skeleton structure and then build muscles on top, and we're gonna change this model into a really more like nice looking one. So let's get started. First thing I'm gonna do actually is just to dynamesh it, just to get some new topology, because if you see here, this is gonna be really hard to work with. And if you guys want to know how I split the screen like this, so you can work with multiple objects at the same time, I'm going to tell you that in the end of the tutorial, so be sure to tune in for that, guys. So let's continue watching. Okay, so I'm just going to dynamesh it, something like this, and then I'm going to smooth it out, because this model looks way too much lumps, looks way too lumpy, you know. So I'm just gonna start something like, not like that, but more like this. Then I'm gonna make a little bit of better topology, so I have something to work with. It's just loading, so let's just wait, guys. Okay, so the first thing we're actually gonna be like really defining is like the overall base of the skeleton. We're just gonna mark where the skeleton goes, where the shake bones goes. These parts right here, cheekbones, then we have the jawline and all of this kind of stuff right here. This is actually very important, the cylindrical shape of the teeth. With the skull right here, we're gonna make sure to indicate that really nicely. And it's like this like square looking shape here from the cheekbone up to the like forehead, so you're gonna be sure to mark that really clearly. Think the overall, see, I'm remeasure having a little bit of problem here, but let's just wait a little bit longer, guys. Okay, and we're really gonna mark where this, like, you see this angle here where the nose goes. We need to mark that very subtly at least, so we know where the overall like face bone are. And like this shape right here, see this shape, guys? We really need to indicate that as well. That's really important to get like the side planes of the head correct. It's not super easy to know that if you haven't created heads before, but that's why I am here to teach you guys. And the chin, all this kind of stuff. We're gonna indicate all of this stuff. Yes, let's see here. Okay, we're just gonna keep working from here. I just need to see what's wrong. Give me 1 sec, guys. There ain't wrong, but okay, let's begin. We're just gonna start with indicating the overall cheekbone. I have symmetry on, of course, so they're just gonna indicate them like this shape right here, and up like that, and then goes like this, and we have this like overall skeleton shape. Just gonna start by indicating them. Then we're gonna erase a little bit of like volume underneath here, because you can see here on the skeleton that it actually goes like inwards here, you see? Yeah, and this isn't a perfect skeleton by any means. It's just a basic skeleton, basic skull that comes with Zbrush. But it works in this case for showing you some basic stuff with the head. Okay, and then we're just gonna keep adding some shape here, and the overall jawline doesn't look like this. So first thing, we're just gonna mark where we want it. So remove this part right here. Remove this, and it's really important with the jawline to really like think about the proportions. You see from the front, it needs to look, if you want it like really nice looking jawline kind of for a sculpture, make sure it's like this like nice shape right here, and then like you can kind of like see the shape right here that I'm creating, because at least for a male sculpture, we're just gonna add this like cylindrical shape for the mouth. You can just erase the mouth for now, but make sure to add this like cylindrical shape here, guys. You can see really clearly that I'm indicating this like cylindrical shape. You can see from underneath the skeleton right there, it's like this cylindrical shape. We're gonna add the overall nose bone with just the like move brush kind of. Let's gonna start with indicating a nose like this. And right here, the actual nose skeleton bone part goes. So we're just gonna indicate it a little bit by making this like not cavity, but like bump right here on the nose to make it look a little bit more realistic. And I don't know what I was thinking about when I created this like thing right here. So we're just gonna start off by I actually always add like this, like not eyebrow shape but triangular shape right here, and then I always build like this shape right next here, cylindrical kind of looking tube shape kind of, just to make the overall face look a little bit more realistic. And make sure it's a cavity right here, because the eye cavity you can see on the skeleton, eye cavity, make sure that that's actually blocked in. I had somewhat of an eye cavity from before, so it's fine actually. Then we're gonna indicate the skeleton structure from behind right here. You can clearly see it, guys, on the skeleton, what I'm indicating right now. Just gonna make sure to indicate this like line here at the side, something like that. And now comes a little bit trickier part with the ears when they are like this, not messed up, but they aren't working. So I'm just gonna mask them out a little bit so I can just move them separately. Gonna move them out so they sticks out a little bit. Maybe not quite as that, but something like this. Make them a little bit bigger. The ear actually often goes from like this part of the nose, underneath the nose, with a straight line like that, and with the eyebrow. So I'm gonna keep it somewhere around that proportion, so it goes like this straight line here. You can see eyebrow, ear, and from ear to bottom of nose. And the forehead ain't this like triangular looking, so it's gonna make sure forehead is a little bit more round, but don't make it too round, because the forehead is actually more like it's not like this like round shape, it's actually more like this, a shape like this. And from the top it ain't gonna be round, it ain't gonna be like a triangle, and it ain't gonna be like a square. It's gonna be like this, bigger in the front, no, smaller in the front and bigger at the back towards that, like that. We're just gonna create that shape, make sure that we nail that shape, something like this. And there I actually think we have a pretty nice looking start. Just gonna smooth it out a little bit, guys, so I can see what I'm doing. Then I'm gonna use the trim dynamic, make planes, make sure to indicate this plane here. All these skeleton bony landmarks are kind of like planes. I'm gonna start always using them as planes, and we're gonna create these planes with cheekbones. Sorry guys, I'm tired. Just gonna add the shape underneath here if you want it to look more masculine, kinda. Something like that. And right here, you can see at the skeleton, just looking at the skeleton and replicating, kinda. The nose here, actually want this like very manly nose, so I'm gonna have this like shape here, and I'm gonna make it a little bit more like wide. Indicate that bone part that we talked about before, guys. Make sure that you like always add that, but very, very subtly. You can smooth the back side of the face out, something like that. Then I think we're just gonna start by adding some more shape or volume. Okay, so now let's just, we've indicated basic bone and landmark, so let's start adding some muscle. We're just gonna add some muscle right here. The side like this goes like this, kind of. We're just gonna add that shape, and then we have the muscle that goes, that makes it easy for us to open our jaw. So from here towards here, like that. Just gonna indicate it, makes a little bit nicer shape from front actually. Then we're gonna change the nose a little bit. Gonna add some volume at the side right here. Just gonna look at some reference how it actually looks. something like that. And the eye here, it's actually very tricky. I'm just gonna start by adding some volume. I'm always adding the volume in like this wrinkle direction, so I'm going like this instead of like just going like this. It's gonna indicate what I want the overall features of the eye to be, something like that, I think. Just gonna start with like dragging this outwards like this. Yeah, making sure that sphere can actually fit inside there, the eyeball. Something like this, and I'm gonna make sure that the eye looks somewhat like an eye. Just creating this shape where a sphere can fit, and make sure that it's like this, like a nice shape here. That it goes actually, wait, I'm gonna show you guys. That the bottom eyelid actually have this curve to it, so it's curving more inwards, the bottom eyelid, and the over eyelid is a little bit more outwards. You can see it, guys. And make sure, it's a common mistake, that this part ain't going like this, because this don't look natural. Make sure that it's actually pushed in, but not too far, but a little bit, kinda like this. Because it's actually fitting around the eyeball, right guys? So be sure to make sure that you add that. Just gonna add a very basic mouth. So I'm just gonna start by blocking it in somewhat like this. I know it looks weird. Just using a cavity brush, kinda like damn standard, yeah. And then I'm just gonna indicate the overall shape of the mouth like this, just creating very basic lip shape. But we need to make sure this like sphere, not sphere, but the cylindrical shape is a little bit more like clear like this, so the lip actually goes around this sphere shape, something like this, guys. Actually gonna move the jawline a little bit further away and making this like nice shape here from the nose down to the chin, somewhat like that. I don't think the eyes here is looking perfect, I wouldn't say. I'm gonna pull this forward a little bit so it looks more like the skeleton structure, and this part inwards, like this, gets more like this square look. And the eye a little bit forward so it's more like square. Something like this. Just gonna make sure most eyes are actually this part and this part are actually kind of aligning, but this part is actually, this corner is actually a little bit higher most of the time, most people. So I'm just gonna make sure that that's the case here as well. And the nose can be a little bit more inwards like this, and nose are actually often a little bit like longer, something like that. We're just gonna add more shape to the lip. And that's actually very easy, so we're just gonna add some shape right here, guys. And we're gonna move this part upwards like that, so we get this like nice shape of the lip. And this part downwards like this. Then we got a very basic shape of a lip. Adding, you see this like curved line here? Gonna make sure that we add that curve. So it's actually like this curved line, and this is also a common mistake, that it goes like this. Don't make it that way. Pull this part a little bit inwards like this, more like square looking shape. Somewhat like this, and we're gonna make this like jawline a little bit more like triangular, something like that. And the jawline, most of the case, this actually goes like at the same spot at the mouth. So we're just gonna indicate that this is going a little bit more upwards like this. Something like that. Just using the move tool and clay buildup brush and some like damn standard, just to carve in some very basic like shapes. And of course the trim dynamic, or for creating planes. I'm gonna create a plane here actually. Make sure it looks a little bit more square and still round at the same time, like this. Then I'm gonna dynamize it very quickly, and I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit, because now we're actually gonna sculpt a little bit more, like, not details really, but a little bit more like serious sculpting on top here. So let's start with the overall eye shape. Right here we're just gonna, as I said, with this like wrinkle right here, and then I'm gonna add like this bottom eyelid and just indicating that by creating this like volume here. The same thing with the top right here, and I'm gonna indicate this like big wrinkle that often goes on top right here, and then this triangular shape right here. Then I'm actually gonna carve inwards right here, like that, just to get a little bit more shape to the overall eye. And make sure that you actually got some plane right here, like this, so you can add eyelashes somewhere. And same thing here. But if the plane look like this, very round, very stupid. Not stupid, but weird. Invert like the damn standard brush and just add this like nice line right here, add some more volume, and then make a plane from there. Just like that. It looks a lot more like an eye, but we still don't have the basic proportions down. So I'm gonna have this like bottom eye part not be very open. I'm gonna have it like this, and this corner right here, make sure it's backwards as as I told you before. It's actually always a little bit downwards like this, and gets really like thin most of the time. Just gonna indicate that. Yeah, it got messed up like this bottom part, so I'm just gonna redo that very soon. Make sure it's like this plane right here as well on the eyelid, so it looks like it's going inwards. That's a problem I had in the beginning. I didn't make that. It's a little bit tricky, but you'll get there. Just gonna indicate this like line right here, smoothing it out a little bit. Something like that. That works actually for right now. Looks more like an eye shape. But you can see how that my eyes on this character are very big right now. So that's another common mistake, because we humans, we tend to look at eyes like the first thing we look at. So therefore we very often exaggerate them in sculptures and stuff like that. So be sure to make them a lot smaller than you think they're gonna be. You see, I scaled them down quite a bit from there to there. Quite a bit of a change, but it's gonna make it look better, so let's keep working. Okay, so adding this shape right here, and just this wrinkle part right here, you see guys? And we're gonna add this like very basically like nostrils underneath here. I'm gonna make a tutorial on how to sculpt a nose, so I'm not gonna go in too much of a detail there, but make sure that this like very basic structure of a nose is indicated. You know, like two muscles that's here, or muscles, it's no muscles, just shapes. Something like that. Indicate them. Don't need to have them this clear, but I'm gonna like over exaggerate the shape so you guys can see them. Making sure this shape is here, and actually underneath here, make sure that this like line goes inwards like this, because that's really like that, and this line right here goes around. That's often like helps the nose to look more and feel more like natural. But make sure from the side that it looks not too weird. So I'm gonna add more the shape upwards like that. Something like that. I'm just gonna use carve in the very basic shape, and then we're gonna do our first like wrinkle fold from here. I'm just gonna use reference here as well. From here and downwards like this. You can kind of like see, guys. Just gonna indicate it. Then we're gonna like this volume here at the side of the overall face mouth. And then we're gonna add this like blob shape underneath here, like this two cylindrical shape that goes towards like this, and then the chin. And that actually, you can sculpt it with 3 parts like this. That's usually what looks the best. And then we're actually gonna indicate this shape from the corner of the mouth right here. Down here is some muscles that goes like this triangular shape, like that. So you just can indicate that. That was gives a little bit more shape to the like overall chin part right here, something like that. We're just gonna make sure that this fold is a little bit more natural looking, something like that. You can see here at the eyes it looks really weird, so make sure that you drag this inwards a little bit, and the overall like making the overall proportions of the skull a little bit bigger, because it looks too small. Just making the overall face proportions smaller, making sure that the forehead takes a little bit more space, changing proportions very simply, but something like that. Making sure the lip is a little bit smaller, or thinner, not smaller. Bringing up the jawline a little bit like that. Make sure the proportions stay kind of true. And here the muscle, pulling inward a little bit and pulling the overall cheekbone in a little bit as well. See guys, we're starting to add a lot of shape. Then we're actually going to add the shape from here down like this. That's going to erase some of the shapes right here and indicate this like this. And there's always like this like shape from at the side right here like this. We actually have muscle that helps like move the lips, so we're going to indicate them. They actually make a very subtle change in the overall sculpture. Then here we're gonna use the fold, and we're gonna create this shape underneath here that goes like that, like this. And let's just add some more volume to the like ears. I'm gonna have a tutorial on how to create ears, so I'm just gonna do some very basic here. Ear like this, because I'm gonna have a tutorial on very soon on how to create an ear from scratch. So stay tuned for that guys. I'm actually gonna do on like all facial features, so be sure to stay tuned for that guys. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you can surely see them, and put on that little bell down there so you don't miss that video. Okay, and we're just gonna pull the forehead in a little bit and make sure it's like this shape which I told you guys in the beginning, that it's actually like this curve like this, like that. I think it actually started to look fine out right now actually, so I'm just gonna smooth it out a little bit. I need to zero mesh this, so I'm gonna try that. Gonna see if this goes a little bit quicker now guys, or if it's not gonna be working. Seems like it's gonna be working, so let's just wait 1 second guys. Okay, let's see. Yeah, right, like this. Yeah, something like this is actually starting to look pretty good now out actually. So now we're just gonna use the plane brush so we can create some more planes. You can see the fold here. We're just gonna create the fold, indicate that with the plane, and here the muscle at the side. Make sure that you have this like clear indication where the overall shape goes, so that your anatomy skills gonna get improved. Adding the shape underneath the mouth right here, and ensure that the lips are getting some very basic shape. And something like this kinda. So you can see the forehead looks a little bit weird. Yeah, the forehead looks really weird, so we're just gonna change that. Overall proportions. Make the overall forehead a little bit smaller. And I actually already have a tutorial on how to sculpt a neck. So make sure to check that video out, guys. If you want to create like a nice looking neck to the overall face. You can add some more muscle volume right here, just smoothing it out to make sure that it's blending very nicely in with the sculpture. adding like this like fold right here. Now we're just gonna like create overall folds. This fold follows the muscles. Actually always follow muscle kinda. Make sure that fold is in there. Making sure the overall shapes of the nose, like this round shape here, is get blocked in, and this shape around the nose like that. Then with the nose, these like triangle shapes and this like shape right there that I already told you guys about. I'm just gonna go over all the shape we already talked about, guys. So yes, get those shapes in here and make sure that you add this like shape here at the side, just carving in so the nose get a little bit more like square looking. And then we actually, yeah, then we're actually just gonna indicate the cheekbones a little bit more. Something like this. Yeah, something like that, guys. Then I'm just gonna indicate some more mouth structure with just the standard brush. I want the mouth, something like that. Indicate where I want the overall shapes to be. Getting this shape and then this shape at the side of the mouth. And the mouth actually gets sharper and sharper more towards the end, like this on the mouth right here. But we need to create less of an angle right here, so we're gonna make this like more like this lip shape. So make sure that you make this more round looking. So I actually just gonna use the inflate brush to make it look a little bit more round. And I'm gonna use the same method on the top of the lip, so it looks a little bit more like that, like a lip. Something like that. A bit more because you're gonna look a little bit younger then. And actually most of the time the lip goes like this line here. Sometimes the underlip goes over this part, so I'm gonna have it like that in this case, but most of the time it goes like this not triangle shape, but the top of the lip goes more outwards. Actually I'm gonna show you guys that. I'm just gonna take this part like that and be sure that I pull this part outwards and this part inwards like this, so you get this like angle right here. Just like that. Then I actually want the eyes a little bit like further apart, a bit more upwards, and the overall nose shapes a little bit more downwards. Making sure this like is a curved inwards like this. Just gonna like smooth it out a little bit. You're starting to see the overall like shape of a head now. Trying to look pretty fine, I think. Especially if you like compare it to the beginning. I'm just gonna focus on like this part, guys, of the face. And we're just gonna add some more volume. Something like this. And we're just gonna indicate the shape a little bit, and then we'll have like these eye bags underneath the eye like this. You can just add a shape. It's kind of a weird shape, so make sure that you make it like a triangle shape, and then God, sorry guys, I'm really tired. Round shape and this like triangle shape. It actually doesn't like connect here, it just hangs here, I guess. Sounds a little bit weird, but it's just how it is, guys. Make sure it's sharp here. Sharp, and here we're gonna make this like round shape like this. And this like round shape goes around like this. Something like that, guys. Just to make the very basic shape of an eye. I'm actually just gonna tell it it's a little bit too much upwards. It needs to be a little bit more like that. It's actually starting to look like a face now, so that's good. Make sure that you like kind of like exaggerate this feature if your character will have exaggerate feature, or if you're just creating a character on your own, then you can always exaggerate a lot of features so people see that you actually know you're like some like anatomical skills, or if you would like to say that. Mine still need to prove a lot, but I'm working at it, guys. So okay, then overall nose planes, this plane right here and the planes right on the side. Usually what I'm doing, and then just adding this like cylindrical shape here and smoothing it out a little bit. So this plane right here and these planes at the side, and then the planes like this, and I'm just gonna like carve in the nostrils. So I have something there for now, guys, because I need to wrap this tutorial up. But now, because it's starting to get a little bit too long for my liking, I think it actually starting to look pretty well. I'm just going to do some minor adjustments. Add some more shape to the overall nose right here. Smoothing out at the sides. Making sure that the planes, that all the shapes are really clear and nice shapes. And here at the fold, most people just leave it like this. It looks really like weird. So make sure that this plane is at the side here and a plane right here. There's like 90-degree angle, and then smooth a little bit on top, and it's gonna look way nicer. Add shapes right here, and something like that. We're just gonna add some planes right here. Just gonna make it a little bit smoother on the top, and this volume right here on the head is actually way more like pronounced on males than females. This like double shape right here. I'm just gonna give me 1 second, guys. Like this double shape like this. Think you're gonna be able to see it now, guys? Yeah, like this like double shape right here. Add it a little bit, not too much, but you can pronounce it pretty exaggerate it a little bit if you want to. Just gonna exaggerate this feature here and make sure that this like part of the head is actually a lot bigger. Like that. I'm gonna add some more like enormous like cheekbones, or well defined cheekbones a little bit. Like this. And you can see, you guys, the ears are way too high up. As I told you guys before, line here and align with eyebrow, but this doesn't work, so we're just gonna move them a little bit downwards. I usually think the ears can be a little bit too much downwards than too much upwards, because they just tend to look a little bit more natural looking actually. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on the ears. Just gonna make sure that they help the overall face with the proportions. Tend to stick outwards like this a little bit, but something like that. Yeah, something like that, guys. I think that was all I had to show you guys for today. And as I told you guys before, I was going to show you how to use this like split screen feature. So to use this feature, just go to transform. You can see here split screen. You can choose how many times you want to split screen, and your objects going to be split into different screens, and you can like split it in different ways. So that's very easy. So transform, and then underneath split screen 1, and you split it once. Very nice, very easy. You just can add some more volume at the forehead right here, so it's not like this. So it's more like this, like square looking shape, and here more round. Okay, let's just add some eyes real quickly, and we're gonna be done with this tutorial. Okay, guys. So transform split screen. I'm just gonna use one screen. Gonna hide that, and we're just gonna indicate the eyes right here. Make sure that they fit. You can see here, guys. I'm gonna add this like really nice sharpness around like this. Something like this, I think. And as I told you guys before, make sure that this corner area is really thin. Bring this part a little bit more inwards. This ain't gonna be a masterpieces of eyes right here and right now, because we're gonna do them very quickly. But as I told you guys before, you're gonna have like this extra tutorial on how to create eyes that I'm gonna be uploading very soon. So make sure that you subscribe and put on the notifications on my channel if you want to see that video when it gets out on my YouTube channel, guys. Just gonna start something like, yeah, that looks way better actually. And I actually just like creating this curve with this line right here. Yeah, but that was a very nice tutorial. I don't think my tutorial was very nice, but at least I hope you guys learned something. See you next time. Please, as I always tell you, subscribe and like this video. Comment what you thought about it, and please follow me on Instagram, because you can vote there for the next upcoming tutorials. So my Instagram is Sculpture for Life, it's my name right there, and I'm gonna be linking it down below. So make sure to check that, guys. Make sure to check that out, guys. See you next time, guys, and bye bye.